Alrighty everyone, welcome back. Just a couple of days ago was May the 4th, and it was a very fun day because a lot of fans really got to learn a little bit more about what John and Dave's efforts are all about. They were able to talk more about their view on their current plans for the Star Wars movie that's being mainly led by Dave Filoni with the help of other creators stepping on board as well as, of course, Disney and Lucasfilm's motives to really bring Star Wars in a different path. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, let's get right down to business because we do know that there's a lot of things going on right now between John, George, and Dave as creators and what's going on with the Disney shakeup and Bob Iger, the executives, the board, and how they're really trying to regulate Star Wars to really being focused on movies again, as well as making the Star Wars shows more or less of a supplement. And that's basically Bob Iger and what he wants to do. Kathleen Kennedy on the other end of the spectrum, though she doesn't have much creative involvement during her time at Lucasfilm now, she does still have some level of the financial control over there, and is really trying to just limit the amount of movies coming out, and Disney really disagrees with that approach. But moving on to the next thing here is that right now Disney is actually looking to course correct the franchise as soon as possible, and with that they are about to announce new films by the end of this year. However, one of the film announcements is set to be an Old Republic movie featuring the origin story of Darth Revan, as well as the Rule of Two with Bane and Zana. Now, one of the big developments right now is John and Dave are already beginning to illustrate Darth Revan's design for live-action purposes, and are already beginning to illustrate Darth Revan's other actual designs, basing the character's face model after Keanu Reeves, since John and Dave are now leaning toward making the fan cast into a reality. Initially, Keanu was aimed for the role of Darth Vitiate, and that is now slowly turning away from all of that. Darth Revan in the upcoming Old Republic film that is set to focus on Revan in part is going to focus on areas of his full origin story, leading to his two designs with, of course, and without his helmet on in the upcoming film. Now, John and Dave are discarded to already be hard at work on also introducing a plan to tease Keanu Reeves as Darth Revan in appearance in the form of a hologram of some kind for one of the upcoming Star Wars shows that would tease the Old Republic movie. So, the thing about Revan, alright, is that he is a very well-established character among the hardcore fans. A lot of fans may come to debate on whether or not this is a good move because a lot of common fans, or casual fans I should say, don't really know much or much at all about Darth Revan. So I think that a lot of fans should definitely read up on this character because it is a very engaging and interesting character, mind you. It's a very well-written character, and I do suggest that everybody go ahead and check out that book from Legends. Now, the thing about this, too, is that John and Dave love to fulfill popular fan casts, alright? They did this with Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano. They did this with, of course, Winstead as Eris Syndulla, and they also did it with others out there that became a reality. In fact, a lot of fans, believe it or not, were calling for Iman Asfandi to become Ezra Bridger, and John and Dave made that too into a reality. So when we look at stuff like that, this is another prime example of them trying to fulfill a fan cast into becoming a real thing in Star Wars. And what I love so much about that, it's like John and Dave like to make fans' wishes come true, and that's what they're all about, and that's what I love so much about them. I believe that Rosario Dawson nailed it and really knocked it out of the park as Ahsoka in Mando Season 2 with her entrance, as well as her appearance in the Book of Boba Fett. Some fans may, beg to differ, but I think, given that Ashley really won the role, they could have done that route if they really wanted to as well, but they wanted to fulfill that fan cast of Rosario Dawson. But moving on to the next thing here is that this is said to be the Star Wars Underworld series that will feature the hologram of Darth Revan, that will tease Revan's appearance for the first time in live action, as this ancient hologram, so to speak. And John and Dave are looking to get Keanu involved in that prematurely. Now, separate from this, Actor Graham Hamilton is going to be working closely with Mark Hamill on becoming Luke Skywalker with ILM's new technology. That's actually going to be utilized for a big scene in a new show called Jedi Knight that will feature Luke Skywalker facing the Knights of Ren in a 1v6 combat scene, where the Knights will have lightsabers this time around and will indeed be force sensitive. John and Dave are already setting out to completely reinventing and retconning the Knights of Ren, since they know fans used to love their mysticism, and are now going to be retconning those characters completely into something new. This is all already planned in current storyboards for the Jedi Knight series. Everything has been on hold writing-wise for scripts. Just be aware about that, everyone, because the writer's strike is still underway, and we're not quite sure how long it's going to last and what kind of big impact it's going to have on delays for the Star Wars releases and stuff around those lines. Maybe, we don't get any delays at all. It really just depends on how long this really goes on for. If it goes on for 2 months, maybe you're going to notice a big shift in the timeline here. But the next thing that I really want to bring up is Graham Hamilton, alright? This guy really did a great job as Luke in the Book of Boba Fett with the help of deepfake tech, and the reason why it works so well is that Graham Hamilton has a near similar facial structure of young Mark Hamill, alright? And that's why they got Graham Hamilton involved. In fact, I always like to bring this up. It's very ironic that they both have very similar last names. Mark Hamill, Graham Hamilton. It's just interesting to me. Was that intentional or a complete accident? Who knows? But when you look at stuff like this, right? When you look at Graham Hamilton as an actor, when you look at him, he looks like Mark Hamill, and they want to just keep using him more and more. Sebastian Stan is still in the roster to fill in for some close-up shots without the use of deepfake tech to kind of save revenue for some of the upcoming projects. That's their plan with Sebastian Stan, to kind of serve himself as like a fill-in for Luke. That's their overall game plan right now, but not to be like, a permanent like shoe-in for becoming Luke Skywalker scene by scene or every single show. He's meant to be used as basically filling in for specific shots or angles. That's the overall plan for Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker. So the thing about Luke is that Jon Favreau talked about this just recently, that they're not done with him yet. In fact, they're just getting things started with Luke, and a lot of that may very well have to do with the Ahsoka series. Now, we know he's going to be a big deal in Season 2 of Ahsoka, but we're not quite sure much about his involvement in the first one. There was one storyboard that featured a moment where Luke first meets Ahsoka, for the very first time. And there's also another thing where Mark Hamill did sign his signature on the wall of a set on the Ahsoka Tano series. So that could very well be a telltale and could really kind of add more validity to that storyboard that John and Dave were creating for Ahsoka. So anyways, guys, I'm really intrigued to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, I'm not the one from night to moon.